Ahoy there, Captain Benzie here, coming at you with another episode of the Catskull Academy, the series that aims to teach you everything you need to know about how things work in EVE Echoes. In today's lesson, we're going to be looking at combat anomalies, also known as ratting sites. We're going to be covering the 5 different types of combat anomaly: Standard, Inquisitor, Scout, Base, and Dead Space, what kind of loot they contain, and how they spawn, the actual mechanics of how you get these different kinds of combat anomalies to actually spawn in a system that you're in. Now this means if there's any particular loot you're looking for, we're going to be discussing that as well. If you're looking for Gisty, Pithy, Corpi, Senti, Corelli, where do you find all of this stuff? If you need cannons or you want armor modules, that kind of thing, how are you going to find all of these? All of this and more covered in today's lesson. Now if you do enjoy this video, let me know by hitting like on it, sub to the channel for all things EVE Echoes, ding that notification bell to never miss an upload, and let me know in the comments section down below what ships and what topics you would like to see me cover on this channel in future. Now if you do want to go the extra mile to help support this channel as well, we do have a Redbubble merchandise store, so if you fancy representing the Catskull Academy, you can certainly do so. There's an awesome design there. You can put it on a hoodie, on a sticker, on a t-shirt, on a laptop skin, on a water bottle, you name it, it's probably available there. Heck, you can even put it on a blasted clock. Beyond that as well, if you do want to help support this channel, we do have a Patreon page as well, and every pledge is very kindly accepted and really does help make a difference, so thank you all so much for that. Anyway, that said and done then, let's jump right into talking about the different types of combat anomalies. Hunting NPC pirates in EVE Echoes is probably one of, if not the most popular way of making ISK. It's nice and straightforward, it's dead easy to do, and there are 2 main ways that you can do this. You can either do this by opening up your encounter menu, going into the news and picking different ones of these and just going and basically completing those missions. That will earn you a certain amount of ISK. The other way is what's referred to as ratting, which is looking for combat anomalies and completing those. The term ratting comes from rats, which is short for pirates, which means the NPC ships that are flown by the computer in EVE Echoes. So if you go into a combat anomaly, those are the pirates or rats, and thus killing them is called ratting. Now, you do this for a couple of different reasons. First and foremost, a standard encounter. Obviously, every time you destroy a ship, its value is added to a bounty that is paid out on a ticker every 20 or so minutes. Basically, you'll notice that you'll kill a load of ships, and then 20 minutes later, bam, you get a whole load of ISK added to your wallet. That is the bounty that those rats give you. Also, when you destroy a ship, there is a chance that its wreckage will sit there in space, and you can loot that wreckage for things like ship modules, or even the wreckage itself, which you can use for reverse engineering. Now, that's just a standard combat anomaly. Beyond this as well, you have the other different types, which we'll talk about in a moment, and each of those contain their own unique types of loot as well. That loot can either be sold on the market, or it can be used in various different manufacturing processes, either to improve your own ship or improve the ships of your corporation, or indeed you can make those things and then sell those at a profit on the market. Now, in order to find a ratting anomaly, basically you need to open up your overview, tap at the top here, and look for Cosmic Anomaly. Now, this little menu here, you'll see all of these different red anomalies here are different types of ratting sites. Now, as we look here, these are all Angel. We'll talk about that briefly in a moment, but for now, that means they belong to the Angel Cartel. These are found in Minmatar space. They'll contain cannons, shield modules, and target painters, that kind of thing, in amongst their loot. And these come in different sizes and in different levels. The number that you see at the start, for example here you can see like an Angel Cartel base 8 or a 10 Angel Medium Anomaly, that is its difficulty, that's its tech level. Obviously the higher that number, the more ships will appear and the more difficult those ships will be, and that's based loosely on the ship tree. So if you're looking at a Tech 6 combat encounter, a combat anomaly, you'll see that the ships that feature in there are all ships that are available at tech level 6 or below. That's how it works there. The small, the medium, and the large denotes that this is a standard combat anomaly. You're going to go in there, you will find a number of ships that you need to blow up, and that's all there is to it. Obviously, small, medium, and large is the number of ships. The amount of ships that you're going to have to destroy a small anomaly only contains a handful per wave. These are usually 3 waves long, and a small anomaly might be 4 ships in the first wave, 4 or 5 in the second wave, and then maybe 5 or 6 in the third wave, whereas something like a large anomaly can often have as much as 12 in its final wave, and those are obviously some pretty big ships. There's a lot of firepower coming your way. It means large anomalies can ultimately be more difficult than mediums or smalls, but obviously they do have more loot and a bigger bounty because there's going to be more ships to kill. Now beyond this as well, there are different types of anomaly. We've talked about the standards there, which is where it says large, medium or small. Then we also get what are called Inquisitor and Scout anomalies. Now I did look around for an Inquisitor as well, I couldn't find one, but I did find this system that has 2 Scout anomalies. Now Inquisitors and Scouts are referred to colloquially as special anomalies. These contain special loot, and they have a little bit more going on with them. So I'm going to warp into this Angel Scout anomaly here. I can see there's no one else in system, so this should be fairly safe, but just to showcase what this is actually like. When you jump into a normal combat anomaly, you literally jump in and the enemy ships are there, ready and waiting. You lock on, they lock on, you fight, and someone wins. When you get to a Scout anomaly, that's not the case. In fact, if I turn to my ship bit of the overview here, you'll see there's nothing here except this cool looking acceleration gate, or warp gate as they're referred to here in EVE Echoes. If we tap on this and we activate it, this will warp us into the actual anomaly itself. These are referred to as rooms. So you've got the gate, and then you have your first room of the anomaly here, which will then have a load of ships in it, which I'm going to need to power away from quickly. There we are, so we've got a Gisty Slasher, Bellicose War, that kind of thing. There will be another gate in here. I'm going to warp out of this quickly because that is going to be a dangerous situation for me to be in. I don't want to be there for too long, because these ships can quite easily destroy a poor little Tech Level 3 Tristram. But this is the Inquisitor anomaly. You saw there was a little bit of sort of like background there as well, some structures and things like that. I do need to actually go back to my bookmark site, which I'll do there. Here we go, so that I'm staying well away from everything. A Scout anomaly, you activate that warp gate and it will take you directly into the centre of the first room. If you clear that room, you'll then have some stuff there that you can loot all those ships, and you may have a second gate that will take you into a second room. Once you've cleared everything, you'll see that there are some things like some data nodes or some satellites, these different objects in space that can then be looted. They're containers that contain special loot, and Inquisitors and Scouts are very similar. They follow that same sort of profile, that basically you go in there, you destroy everything, and then you loot those special containers at the end. Now Inquisitors, and again, correct me if I'm wrong here in the description down below, I don't tend to do the looting, I just come along and blow stuff up. The loot for me obviously gets shared into Catskull and Void Federation, where it is then divvied out accordingly to needs later on. An Inquisitor anomaly contains rig blueprints, so if you're looking for particular rigs, it's Inquisitor anomalies that you're going to want to look for those. Now obviously that means if you're looking for railgun rigs, for example, you're going to want to do that in Galente space. If you're looking for missile rigs, then you'll find those in Minmatar and Caldari space, cannons obviously in Minmatar space, lasers in Amar space, that kind of thing. So you get a vague idea of what's going on there, and we will talk more about the type of loot you get in the different anomalies later on as well. Now, Scouts, on the other hand, contain data cores. Data cores are obviously the items that you use to reverse engineer. You use ship debris and data cores to reverse engineer blueprints that allow you to build ships. So Scouts include the data cores and certain blueprints for ship modules and things like that. Inquisitors are rig blueprints and contain things like the charred microchips and that kind of thing that you use to make rig blueprints. So Scouts are more towards ships and modules, whereas Inquisitors are more towards rigs. Finally then, for the standard ones that you'll tend to see everywhere, you have what is called a base anomaly. Now a base anomaly, I'm going to set approach on this because these have got a cool new little icon there you can see in the overview. These are what ultimately creates all of this. When you find a base in space, it is going to level up over time, and it is what spawns all of these other types of combat anomalies. Now, essentially, when a combat anomaly spawns, it spawns at the current level of the base. So here we have a level 8 Angel Cartel base, which means if a new combat anomaly spawns in this system, it is going to be level 8. It'll be a level 8 small, a level 8 medium, a level 8 large, or it could be a level 8 Inquisitor or Scout. Ultimately, that's what the level of a base means, and a base will increase over time. The rate that a base increases is affected by two different systems: the number of gates in a system and the traffic through those gates. So if I open up my star chart here briefly, you can see that this particular system that I'm in has 3 gates in and out of it. That means bases here are going to level up fairly swiftly, especially if there's a lot of traffic going through them. Whereas here at this system, there is only 1 gate in or out, which means you don't have many gates, you'll need a lot of traffic in order to cause that base to level up. Now this means that if someone goes in and destroys a base, you reset all of the encounters. Basically, if I destroy this base now, it will eventually respawn as a 1 Angel Cartel base, which means any anomalies that spawn in the system will be small, medium, large, anomaly level 1. That is then going to take a long time to level up to the point where the loot is actually useful to us. Obviously a level 1 anomaly doesn't really have much in it, but by the time you start hitting level 6, level 7, level 8, level 9, level 10 anomalies, you're getting some really cool loot. It's worth noting that Inquisitor and Scout anomalies can only spawn from Tech 4 upwards. You will never find a level 3 Inquisitor or a level 3 Scout. It simply does not happen. This means a base needs to be at least level 4 in order for Inquisitor or Scouts to spawn. It does have the difference that obviously if you don't want level 10 loot, you can clear a level 10 base, restart that system, and let it spawn back up. Basically, when you clear an anomaly, when you destroy everything in that anomaly and it disappears from the overview here, it starts a respawn timer. There's no exact time on that, there is a little bit of randomness involved in that full time, but when that anomaly respawns, there is basically a 1% chance for each of the specials. So for tech level 4 through 4 and 5, you've got a 98% chance of it being a small, medium or large anomaly that spawns, a 1% chance of it being an Inquisitor, and a 1% chance of it being a Scout. Now, once you hit tech level 6, however, there is a new special type of anomaly that spawns. This is referred to as a dead space anomaly, and you'll see these like as an Angel Overlord dead space anomaly. These are where you get those Gisty C-type or Corelli C-type, all of that kind of loot, those blue level modules, those drop in dead space anomalies. They're like Inquisitors and Scouts in that they have those warp gates that allow you to access them, but they do contain some very high power loot, and accordingly, some very powerful ships. If you go into an Angel Dead Space anomaly, there is a chance you will come across not just Dramiels, but also Cinnables and Macariels. And obviously if you go into a Guristus, you'll fight things like worms, healers, and rattlesnakes. In the Senti ones, the Sanchez Nation ones, you'll find Succubus, Phantasm, and Nightmares. Those kind of ships will start to appear, and that makes them very, very difficult anomalies. Now, Inquisitors and Scouts are already fairly difficult to solo. Some people can do them with the right ships and the right fittings and the right skills, but I do recommend going in as a fleet with those. You'll find that once you get to dead space anomalies, a large fleet is required, and certainly they are a big source of fleet combat as well, because if you jump into an anomaly, these are not private, these aren't like encounters. These, you can have other people go in. You saw there earlier, I'm sitting here in a system with only one person. I could be sitting there trying to clear one of these anomalies, and someone else jumps in and comes looking for me. It's where I find most of my PvP, ultimately. And it's why I think that anomalies should actually give a lot more money than a standard news encounter of a similar level should, simply because there's a higher risk involved. Now, this third type, as I said, the Dead Space Anomaly, these only spawn from Tech 6+. That means once a base hits level 6 or higher, if you destroy an anomaly, the respawn timer starts. At the end of that respawn timer, there's a 1% chance of it being an Inquisitor, 1% chance of it being a Scout, 1% chance of it being a Dead Space, and then a 97% chance of it being a small, medium, or large standard anomaly encounter. That's ultimately how they spawn, and remember, those bases level up faster if there is more traffic going through a system, and if that system has more gates. Those are the two factors. I can't tell you the exact percentages or the exact formula that works this out, because I do not know it. No one does, and the developers are being notoriously tight-lipped about that. I've asked many times, I've offered bribes and all kinds, but nope, no one is going to tell me. It's a 1% chance for each of the special spawns, and the gates level up based on on time, which is modified by the amount of gates in the system and the amount of traffic through those gates. That's all I really know about those. Now, we do also know that corporation citadels eventually will actually modify the chances of different anomalies appearing in a system as well. If you've watched my video on what corporation citadels are and why you might want to build one, you'll see that I mentioned in there is an article that the developers posted which showcases in future what kind of crazy things that they're going to be adding, and there are things like dead space scanners, etc., that will make a dead space anomaly more likely to spawn in a system, or the Inquisitors or the Scouts and things like that more likely to spawn in a particular system. I do recommend watching that video if you have an idea. That's a friend, we're okay. If you want an idea of the crazy new things that may be coming for corporation citadels. Now, in regards to this as well, I did mention that we'd talk about the different types of combat anomalies and where you find all of these. So I'm going to zoom our map right the way out here, and I'm going to go into sovereignty info. And you might be thinking, why on earth do we want sovereignty info? Obviously, whether or not it's Void Alliance or Golden Horde doesn't matter, right? No, true. But the Empire spaces do matter. So obviously anything that's yellow with the Amar symbol in, that's where you're going to find things like Blood Raiders and most of the Sanchez Nation stuff as well. As you come out into Nullsec beyond those, so down like here on the left into places like Quirius, Delve and Period Basis, that's Blood Raider. Blood Raider is also known as Corpi. That has laser weapons, armor tanked ships, and usually uses tracking disruptors as their E-War system of choice. That means if you're going into those anomalies, expect lasers, armor, and tracking disruptors. Also expect those are the kind of modules that will drop. Also things obviously like the actual lasers themselves, armor tanking modules, things like remote armor repairers. There will be Nosferatus and things in there as well, because those are fairly common on those particular types of ships. That's the kind of stuff you'll find there. And if you go into an Inquisitor anomaly down that way, you'll find things like laser burst aerator or laser collision accelerator rigs and that kind of thing down there as well. Obviously, that's where you'll find Blood Raider dead space anomalies as well, which if you want to make Blood Raider ships means you're going to need to clear those to get Blood Raider debris, which you then use to make the blueprints. It's worth noticing as well that Delve, in regards to its sovereignty, there is the Blood Raider symbol there, which means there are bits of Delve that cannot be claimed by any others because they're already claimed by the Blood Raiders. If you're looking for Sanchez Nation, these guys are based mainly in Stain. That's where you're going to find the majority of Sanchez Nation like anomalies, whether those are the dead spaces and things like that. Obviously, the further you come out, if you head to like Esoteria, and there you will find those out that way as well, Sanchez Nation. Sanchez Nation obviously again uses lasers, but uses shield tanking this time, still uses tracking disruptors, so you know what kind of E-War you're up against, gives you an idea there. As we come further east into places like Immensi, Wicked Creek, Detorid, Innsmother, Scalding Pass, Cache and all of this, you'll see that these are now Angel. Angel is based in Curse, so Curse is the region that you cannot claim sovereignty in, because it's already claimed by the Angel Cartel, but beyond that you'll start finding the Angel Anomalies, or Gisty anomalies. That's where your Gisty loot comes from. Gisty small cannons, Gisty C-type shield boosters, that kind of thing. So you're looking cannons, shield boosters, and the most commonly used E-War is target painters. That's kind of stuff you'll find there. As we come further north, ignoring the Dronelands because we don't have access to those yet, and that's another topic for another video, we come up to Geminate, Vale of the Silent, and north of there, with places like Venal. Venal is the home of the Guristus Pirates. That, again, is a sovereignty-less system. You cannot claim sovereignty in Venal because it belongs to the Guristus Pirates already. That's where you're going to start to find Guristus Pirates anomalies, Guristus Pirates dead spaces, and that's where the pithy type loot starts dropping. That's mainly missiles, but with a few bits of railguns here and there, shield tanking for the most part, and guidance disruptors for your electronic warfare modules. Then as we come west, we move into areas like Outer Ring, Syndicate, Cloud Ring, all of these here, Fountain, etc. Fountain is the base of the Serpentis Corporation, you can see the logo there. So again, there's a lot of Fountain that cannot be claimed as sovereignty, namely the Phoenix Constellation. That's where you'll find it's Serpentis based there. You can see some other corporations and alliances are beginning to sort of take around Phoenix, trying to obviously get a monopoly on the central system there. But obviously if you do go up to Outer Ring, Syndicate and places like that, you will still find Serpentis anomalies. those are using predominantly railguns, but they also use armor and sensor dampeners for their E-War. They are Corelli. So Corelli C-type, Core C-type, that kind of loot is what you'd expect to drop around there. So hopefully that gives you an idea of where you need to be looking on the star map in regards for what kind of loot you're looking for. This does mean that currently the Angel Cartel stuff is some of the most readily available. There are more systems, more regions out there that have Angel Dead Spaces as their main loot type, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're the most common on the market, because Angel currently are probably some of the most difficult Dead Spaces, Inquisitors and Scouts to actually complete. Whereas things like the Blood Raider and indeed the Sanchez Nation, sorry, are some of the more common ones, and I know a lot of people are up in the northern areas here going after Guristas pirates, because missiles are always an ever popular weapon system, as are the Guristas pirates ships like the Worm, the Healer, and the Rattlesnake. So very lucrative across the board in all directions, in fairness, but it gives you an idea of what you're looking for there. And I hope that gives you an explanation now on everything we want to talk about here in regards to the different types of combat anomalies. We've had a look at the different types of loot that drop in those, how they spawn, how they all work, and giving you an idea of what they look like on the overview as well. Now, if I missed something you feel, or if there's more information you want to know, of course do come join us on the Catskull Academy Discord. The link is in the description below. It is open to everyone. Of course, if you want to join the Catskull Cartel and join us out here in Innsmother and all of that with Void Federation, 100% you'd be welcome to come and check us out. But the public channels there are full of awesome people who are happy to answer any questions you may have. I purposely haven't put out like loot charts and all this kind of thing, because I think that's fairly boring for a video, and that information is readily available elsewhere. I want to make this fairly entertaining and explain exactly how these combat anomalies actually work for you all. Anyway, hope that helps out, guys. If you do have any questions, do ask either in the description or come find us on Discord. Otherwise, thank you for watching right the way to the end. Hope it helps, happy sailing, and see you in New Eden!